Hi everyone, I'm back. Nancy, I challenged you to show me some things in your area that had specific phenologies. And since it's the rainy season, you showed us all kinds of amazing plants. I loved looking at the flowers. Those fruits looked so amazingly delicious. I cannot wait to come visit you someday and see all of those things in person. Absolutely loved the video. I'm giving you another 5 stars for an amazing job.
Turf Wars, a battle of wits, knowledge, and creativity. Which naturalist will prove they're the best? Choose your fighter and watch the action unfold on Turf Wars!
Nancy, you asked me to talk a little bit about Native American land usage in this area. So I live in the state of Illinois in the United States, and right now I am standing on the unceded territories of the Kickapoo, Peoria, Kaskaskia, and Potawatomi peoples. This part of Illinois used to be part of what's called the Prairie Peninsula, or the most eastern part of a stretch of tallgrass prairie that covered this part of the Midwestern United States. I've made videos before about how burning of the prairie can help restore the native vegetation, and the Native Americans played a large role in the burning of prairies and their development over the centuries. Native Americans burned the prairie for hunting practices, and one of the animals that they were hunting on the prairie is the American bison. I've worked alongside American bison at my research sites in the Nachusa grasslands in northwestern Illinois, and they are absolutely amazing animals. But as I was trying to decide what I wanted to showcase and talk to you about today in terms of Native American land usage, I stumbled upon something really incredible that I'd like to show you out here in the forest preserve. I was surfing the website for my county's forest preserves, looking to see if they had a list of what preserves they were burning this spring so I could show you what a freshly burned area looks like, when I stumbled upon a blog post about a hidden gem in one of the forest preserves I'd never heard of before. This is really cool. Here's the interpretive sign at the head of the trail. We're going to go see some replicas, or rather restored Native American effigy or burial mounds. So right now we are in the Windfield Mounds Forest Preserve, and this is quite a large natural area that sort of surrounds where these 3 effigy or burial mounds are located. The history of the mounds is a little complicated though, so back in like the 70s or early 80s, some anthropologists from a local university came to the mounds and excavated them and found lots and lots of artifacts, which is really cool, but the process of excavating archaeological sites does mean that they can be damaged in the process. And on top of all of that, the hubbub attracted other people who didn't have such legitimate scholarly reasons for being there, and so the mounds also suffered some vandalism. So that means in the late 90s, the Forest Preserve District and a bunch of other organizations came together and decided to restore these mounds. So what we're going to be looking at, or hopefully if I can find them, what we'll be looking at will be not the original mounds in their undisturbed state, the way the Native Americans originally built them, but a faithful restoration taken on by people who really care about them. The mounds were apparently restored entirely using hand tools, which sort of adds to their real feel, I guess. Luckily, there was another interpretive sign right here on the trail so that I am sure I'm in the right spot to find the effigy mounds. This mounded region of soil might not look like very much now, but it's important to remember that this was first constructed and used by Native American peoples somewhere around 1,000 years ago, during the time that there were active settlements in this part of northern Illinois. The archaeologists have classified these mounds as effigy or burial mounds because they did recover evidence of buried human remains wrapped in cloth in these mounds, as well as lots of other artifacts. These are not the only mounds in Illinois, though. If you go a lot farther south from where we are, you can encounter the Cahokia Mounds, which is a much larger area of soil mounds that are evidence of an ancient civilization. So those mounds were not only used for burial by the Native American peoples, but also as the foundations for their housing structures. I'm really glad you gave me this challenge, Nancy, because not only is it always fun to go out and discover something new in one of the forest preserves around here, but also because it's really important for those of us who live in the Chicago area to remember that the land that we are living on is not really ours and was someone else's beforehand. It's very sobering to come out here in this forest preserve and see the remains or the restored remains of these effigy mounds and think about all of the history that went into where they are now. All of the vandalism in the early 1900s, the several archaeological excavations, and then finally the restoration and the placement of the interpretive signs so that hopefully some people do make their way out here and learn a little about the history of this land and the peoples who used to live here. All right, Nancy, and everybody playing along at home, it's time for your next challenge. While I was walking along the trail toward the mounds this morning, I saw something amazing. Look at these turkeys. This is what we would call a lek. So the female turkeys are off on the left side of the trail just browsing and looking for food, and the male turkeys are the ones standing in the middle of the path displaying for the females. A lek is basically when a group of male animals get together in a spot and perform so that all of the females can come to that one area to choose among the males. Your challenge is to show me some sort of animal doing a mating display. It could be a bird like these turkeys doing some sort of dance or exposing their beautiful feathers. It could be an insect or a spider doing some sort of tapping ritual before they mate. It doesn't matter, it's up to you, but show me an animal doing some sort of mating display. I'm excited to see what you come up with. Don't forget that you can play along at home and tag us on your social media posts when you do. I had a lot of fun coming outside on a hike today, but now I'm gonna go back inside before it starts raining. So I will see you all in the next Turf Wars video. Bye!